So what could we learn from a box of crayons? Now, depending upon how long you've had your box, there's maybe some are pretty worn down, a few are broken, you might be missing a few. Typical box of crayons, all kinds of different colors, sometimes with what I think are unusual names, apricot or orchid or whatever. With all these differences it's still true. The crayons were all meant to live together in the same box. As different as the crayons are, they're all meant to live in the same box. So are we. As different as we each are, and we are meant to belong to this one crayon box that is this world together. I mean, we are different. We each look different. Our family backgrounds are always unique. Our personalities, politics, and preferences all vary greatly. Yet, from the beginning of time, God dreamed that with all of those differences, we would find a way to live together at peace in the same crayon box, so to speak. And when Jesus walked this earth in bodily form, we could see how deep his passion was for such unity. He proclaimed it boldly. He embodied it by how he lived. And he gave his life praying to the end that we would be one. Now, this message, profound as it is, was also startling to some. That as different as we all seem on the outside, deep down, we are much more alike than different. And as different as we all are, we are meant to understand that God dreamt it from the beginning of time that we would live as one, that we would take care of each other and the human family with a special care for those who are vulnerable, broken on the outside, making sure that everyone has a place at our family table. Now, the disciples, even as privileged as they were to have walked right next to Jesus and heard him talk about this and watched him embody it, they sometimes just didn't quite get it. I didn't seem all the way interested in doing how much hard work it would be to make that happen. And then, today, from the Acts of the Apostles, this startling moment. There were devout Jews from every nation under heaven staying in Jerusalem, Parthians, Medes, and Elamites, inhabitants of Mesopotamia, Judea, Cappadocia, from all over the world. And for one shining moment, all those people, with all their differences, saw what God saw, that they were one. For one shining moment, they experienced what Jesus proclaimed and for which he gave his life. They were bonded by the Holy Spirit in the common language of God in their hearts. As different as they were, they realized the truth, that they were more alike than different. And from that moment on, in so many profound ways, the disciples would be changed forever. And now it would be their mission to do that work of inclusion and compassion, of justice and of peace, of bringing people together into the one family that God dreamt and created for us. And yet, unity is always hard work. It's easy to divide. The word Satan means to divide. The work of Christ is to unite. How do we teach ourselves to see what Jesus saw? How do we create a world where all people know that they belong? You know, our Christmas welcome at Most Sacred Heart describes our call and our commitment in part this way. I won't read all of it. We hope that all God's people feel truly welcome here. We extend a special welcome to those who are single, married, divorced, gay, filthy rich, dirt poor. You're welcome here if you're just browsing, just woke up, or just got out of jail. We don't care if you're more Catholic than the Pope or haven't been to church since little Timmy's baptism. We welcome those who are in recovery and those who are still struggling mightily with addiction. We welcome those who are inked, pierced, or both. We offer a special welcome to those who could use a prayer right now. We've all been there. Are those who had religion shoved down your throats as a kid, or who thought you were turning onto Highway 44 and ended up here by mistake? Happens a lot. There's more, but we end with this. We welcome tourists, seekers, doubters, bleeding hearts, and with all our hearts, we welcome you. You. And I'll add, if you were ever made to feel left out, that you don't belong, or that you weren't right for us, or that you didn't fit in here or anywhere, I'm so sorry. You did not deserve that. You matter deeply to God. You do. You do. And you are a treasured part of who we are. And it is ours to do the difficult and essential work of offering such a welcome to the world. Sometimes it is simple things, right? It's at most Sacred Heart at the beginning of the school year. We stand all the kids who are new and we cheer for them and cheer for them. The kids are good at the cheering part. And we say, you got to enjoy it because you only got 1 week to be new because on Monday you're just regular. And so we cheer for them again. Then on Friday we stand them and cheer for them and cheer for them and cheer for them. And they have to enjoy it because on Monday they're just regular. Otherwise they're the new kid for years, right? It can be simple things. Sometimes it's how we think. And that's how we act. We remind ourselves that everybody hurts. We remind ourselves that each person matters. We work for a world where each person is treasured. We go out of our way to welcome that new person or who doesn't seem to know the ropes. We practice being kind to that kid or person who gets left out, picked on, or ignored. We got to find ways to break down barriers. Now, we can't fix it all. But we got to do our part in the time we have. As I said, sometimes it's small things, and sometimes we will pay a price for doing what we can towards inclusion, but we must do what we can. And now with the announcements of all things new here and all over the Archdiocese, we are given a new reminder and a new urgency to our call. At most Sacred Heart, our challenges will be different than those who will, some parishes will be merging or combining, and for whom there will be great pain. But it is still ours to remember and to proclaim and to embody that we are all in it together. One interesting thing about the box of crayons. When I was a kid, this is back when they were, I think, inventing electricity, there was a color called flesh. Had kind of a tan color. I wonder how many kids used to pull out that crayon and go, I wonder why they call that flesh. Fortunately, that crayon is not labeled that way anymore. We all know human flesh takes on all kinds of different hues. And we are all called to remember that whatever our differences, all people smile in the same language, and that we are indeed brothers and sisters, and that we and all God's people are meant to live together in the same crayon box.